Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
Epstein, in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends
well,
of
I
yours.
can't say friends, but I know
You're
them.
friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy.
What's going on, everybody? What's happening, Brother Caleb Collins? Good afternoon to you. Let me go live on Instagram so people can get the notifications, making sure that we are letting people know. Happy August to you all. Happy August. It's August 1st. This is, we just got done with the best month of the podcast. Thank you to everybody that has made that happen. Make sure you like the video on the way in. Let me know where you are hailing from, and I will give you a shout out from behind the mic. All right. So y'all know what we're going to talk about. I'm trying to get some stuff. I had some stuff going on with my computer. My computer did not want to start up. So I had to wait for that to happen before we could start. But you see, this is an older video from President Donald J. Trump. And this guy's making the argument, and I need to put this up here. That's what we're talking about. See, that's what happens when your computer doesn't want to start up. You got to fly by the seat of your pants. I didn't want to be too late. All right. So he's making the argument. If Trump was compromised by Epstein, then why was he on the campaign trail in 2015 openly putting the spotlight on the island and its sinister connections to Prince Andrew and Clinton? Think about it. The FBI framed Donald Trump for treason and still failed. Why would they not just bring out the Epstein information on Trump if they had it, considering they had tried absolutely everything to stop him? Trump never went to the island. The real reason why Epstein Island information is being withheld is because of the country that was running the blackmail operations. Now, this is on the heels of leaking reporting it's not really leaking, that the FBI has reportedly redacted President Trump's name along with those of prominent public figures from the Epstein files per Bloomberg. So Bloomberg makes the initial report, leading report picks up on it, and this is what's been going on today. This was at 10:25 a.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah. So we're just trying to figure out. Look, I'm asking questions, Caleb. I am searching for the truth. I want to know if Trump is in the files. I want him exposed. If Trump is not in the files, I don't care. I want everybody in the files exposed, right? Don't forget to like the video on your way in. Let me know where you are hailing from, and I will give you a shout out. Thank you. Say hello in the chat. Now, yeah, we're starting a little late because we had some computer problems, but you know, it just wouldn't start, so we had to deal with it. Now it looks like the count. There it is. Okay, I had to hit it and it refreshes. All right, there we go. Okay, so it wasn't refreshing. There we go. Okay, so the FBI reports that Bloomberg reports that the FBI has redacted President Trump's name. So everybody's thinking, wow, they redacted it because he's in the files and he's implicated. But you see him here on the campaign trail in 2015, openly discussing the island, openly discussing Clinton's involvement, Prince Andrew's involvement. And he's gone on record saying that Clinton visited the island 26 to 28 times. He's mentioned that multiple times. But this is just more information, and people that have been following the story probably already know this, but as I see new clips or older clips resurface, I think we should add it to the bank of knowledge as we're trying to figure out this situation. As we're trying to make good judgments, we want to take in as many facts as we can, And even this report was pretty instructive, right? Trump was a whistleblower, was the Epstein whistleblower in 2005, right? So author Michael Wolff revealed that Jeffrey Epstein discovered it was Donald Trump who blew the whistle on him in 2005. And as a result, Epstein reportedly lived in fear during Trump's presidency, believing he would be targeted after evading significant accountability for his crimes in 2008. So Epstein believed that it was Trump who at first caused him to be investigated by law enforcement in Florida in 2005. And asked by Truman if Trump knew Epstein was hanging out with underage girls, Wolff said Trump was certainly kind of in and out of Epstein's house and world, so I think he knew something about it. Okay, now, again, we're just trying to figure out, adding this to the database. Hope, is it true? Is it not? We want to figure out, because until the information is unsealed and we get every bit of information that we've been looking for, we won't know the full scope of who's involved, who's not, who's being covered for, who's not. But a lot of information that's been coming out recently is highlighting the fact that they're right. It's highlighting, welcome Sebastian, is highlighting the fact that it seems that there are connections with all of these people, right? Okay, so this was earlier this year when Trump was asked if he would pardon Diddy.
Host of The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of, that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So I can't, it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Mr. President.
All right, now people have, we're taking this and running with it. And how could you pardon that scum, right? How could you pardon that scum? Or even think about pardoning that scum. But the key term here is if he felt that someone was being mistreated, he would pardon
Host
them.
of The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that
if the judicial system was doing something that was amiss, he would consider pardoning them, whether they liked him or not. So he wants to do what is right. That's what it seems. From that statement, that's what I'm gathering. He wants to do what is right. Whether Sean Diddy Combs likes him or not, whether they're friends or not, if he feels that if he looks at the evidence and feels that that person has been unfairly treated by the justice system, he's like, okay, well, look, this is a travesty of justice. I have the power to pardon. I'm going to use it. Okay, that's what he's about. All right. Now, when we're just putting together information, okay, because people have been talking about him possibly pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, right? And he mentioned that earlier this month as well. All right, so let's listen in.
For Ghislaine Maxwell, would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
it's something I haven't thought about. It's really something.
Recommended it.
It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
But you wouldn't rule it out.
Why has the dollar?
Right. And so they're asking lots of questions about who he would possibly pardon. Now, we've since learned that I think one of the people in the chat. Let me say hello to people in the chat. We got Sebastian in here, CS299, Clinton H, Ruel, that name there, Ayakawi World, okay, and Nota Lizard Man, Honest, Unseen, and Elbows Up. Thank you to everybody that is joining in. If you could like the video on the way in, that would help the engagement. Okay, now we've got 234 people in here. Thank you to everybody that is tuning in right now. I appreciate you. Okay. But he's taking questions about possibly pardoning Ghislaine, possibly pardoning Diddy. And the thread amongst all of these is sexual deviancy. And that seems to be the thread running behind this cult, this powerful group of world leaders that was lurking in the shadows but is now being exposed and is pushing back on the American populace, the global populace, thumbing their nose at us in so many different ways. It seems like all roads lead to Israel, and we're going to talk about that as well, because someone's already mentioned it, that Jeffrey Epstein was Mossad. Ari Ben Manash has admitted it on camera that Jeffrey was working for Israeli intelligence. And it seems that the Department of Justice doesn't want to admit that fact, but we've got former Israeli intelligence saying, yes, he worked with us. And we're trying to weave all of this, so that's why it's important for people like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, I forget the Daryl Cooper, and I mean, there's so many different people that are asking these questions and trying to uncover. They've been doing it for years, but now that it seems that we have right now with Trump's presidency the opportunity to go further without the federal government trying to stop the journalists from doing their jobs. Now, Trump tried to gaslight his base and to stop this. You know, he messed. This was a fumble. This was a problem. This was one of the black marks on his presidency so far, where he didn't handle this properly. It's one of. And he got pushback, and he realized that he is not MAGA. The Make America Great movement again, the Make America Great Again movement, or the America First movement, didn't start with him, and it doesn't depend on him, and it's not looking to him as. Now, there's some people who are die hard. Trump is everything. Trump is their Lord and Savior. But for those of us who are America First patriots that want to see the country do well, we want to support him when he does the right thing. But when he doesn't, we're willing to call him out, because this is not a partisan issue. This is a human rights issue. There are people who have been harmed by this PDF file syndicate, essentially, and there are still people who are operating in the shadows that were a part of this syndicate, if you want to call it, and we want to see them brought down. Dan Bongino says we can't run a republic this way. There's things that he's seen that have changed him forever. He will never be the same. What are those things? We're starting to see, yes, okay, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton conspired with the Russia hoax to undermine Trump's presidency. Okay, that was one of the most painfully obvious things that when they announced it, we were like, okay, great. So what? We know that already. They're not in the public eye anymore. They don't. Well, I mean, by proxy, Barack Obama had power with Joe Biden, but We're talking about the shadow government that still is in operation, that is still pulling strings. And ultimately, I believe that, and I think many people as well believe that it is Israel that is behind most of what we're seeing, whether it be the PDF file cover up, the rings, the whatever. We're seeing that America is a compromised nation, where Israel is the one pulling the strings. Right? Yeah. Right? And it's not that we're saying, so guys, well, let me further expand on that. Okay? People are getting really their panties in a bunch about me saying, so what about the Russia hoax? We're not saying that thing isn't important. Trump still won. It didn't. We know that they're treasonous. We recognize that. If they're not going to do anything about it, if they're not going to be arrested or tried and convicted, ultimately it's all for show. So either do something about it, convict Clinton, convict Obama. Now, Obama may have presidential immunity, but what we're saying is they're not in government anymore. This shadow government still operates. This PDF file syndicate, there are people who are still in government who are being covered up for. And the tentacles go back to Israel. And so we're saying that's fine that you pulled all of that information out about, you unsealed testimonies or whatever Tulsi Gabbard did, opened all the files up. And we know now that Obama was anti-American, essentially, and so was Hillary Clinton. But we already knew that. The way they governed, deep state is another great way to, shadow government, deep state, whatever you want to call it, right? We already knew that they were treasonous. We already knew that Obama was doing everything he could to undermine the Constitution and to erode the American ideal or the American identity nationally into something that it wasn't supposed to be. Obamacare, LGBTQ, racial tension off the charts in his presidency, right? Essentially creating the environment that allowed Trump to ascend. We knew this already, but we knew that they were treasonous. We knew that they weren't America first. Now we have evidence. Okay, are you going to prosecute them? No. Okay, then what was the evidence for? Was it for show? Was it a distraction to keep us away from, or keep us distracted as you tried to figure out what to do about Epstein? What was it for? And so that's what we're after. We're after, what is it? The draining of the swamp, the elimination of the deep state. What is it? Whatever you want to call it, that's what we're looking for. And this one thing, which could bring them all down, so many of them could be brought down by the Epstein files. Why can't we see them? It's just a bait and switch. Like, we're going to give them to you. Then we're not. What are we doing here? America first. America first. And as we see more and more people make contradictory statements, look at this, right? So we had Alan Dershowitz admitting that there were people, then Alan Dershowitz saying no, there were no clients. And so, well, we got someone else saying, yeah, Alan Dershowitz doesn't know what he's talking about. This is right. Attorney who represented 9 Epstein victims says Alan Dershowitz is dead wrong about Epstein. The clients are real. So let's listen in.
For a moment, by anything Alan Dershowitz just said, that there is no evidence of sex trafficking when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein? Like, are we taking crazy pills?
I honestly think he may have lost his mind at this point, because he is absolutely dead wrong.
Right.
I've represented not only the 9 victims, but I've seen the evidence on behalf of the 40 victims that were investigated by the FBI at the time to prove conclusively that Epstein had trafficked in underage girls, children as young as 14 years old, for sex. Not only that he was using these young children for sex, but so was Ghislaine Maxwell. And then he was trading out sexual favors to people in Palm Beach and in his Manhattan home, as well as transporting people to his island in the Virgin Islands.
Do you...
Now, trafficking, that's the question we're asking. And I love this comment. I got to bring it back up, right? I brought it up, right? These are not the files you're looking for, right? These aren't the files you're looking for. But trafficking to who? Nobody, apparently. Nobody. Nobody in power. Nobody of significance. So Clinton, Prince Andrew, none of these people. Nobody. Nothing to see here, right? That's what we're supposed to believe. Right? Okay. If you say so. Don't forget to like the video on your way in. Appreciate you guys. So, oh, man. So we're just supposed to stop, right? Stop looking. Don't trust the plan. That's what we've been told, right? This is the first bipartisan thing that they've done in a while. Everybody's covering up the Epstein files. We get Democrats in office. Hey, they cover it up. Republicans in office. Hey, now they covering it up. So bipartisan cover up. That means that they were all in on it. That's what we're asking. We just want to know. Like, we're sitting here waiting for these files like, when? Will my grandkids see the files? Will they? Right. Will they see? Well, I guess our grandkids, just like with the JFK files, right? With the 1960s, right? Maybe 60 years later, we'll see the files, right? Yeah, we don't know what's going on. That's the point. That's why we're asking the questions. People, we're asking questions. We don't know what's going on. That's what we want. Transparency, justice. We don't know what's going on. We believe we should know what's going on. So we're asking questions, pushback, engaging in investigation. Yeah. At this point, we probably aren't getting them. We probably aren't getting the files, right? Who knows? That doesn't mean we should stop asking and stop demanding. Where are the files? Where are the files? Where are the files? Eventually got the Kennedy files. Took 60 years, but we got them. Yay. Right. Thank you to everybody that's tuning in. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Oh, man. But at some point, we've got to ask questions. Yeah, so there you go. An Obama judge is blocking them. Okay, that's why they're working with Maxwell, right? The Clinton Foundation is going down. Okay, Look, we're going to keep our ears and eyes open. Right? She's been moved. Ghislaine been moved to a minimum security facility in Texas. Yeah, right. Then that gives them a lot of time to tamper with him. Doesn't take long to tamper with files, though, apparently, right? Doesn't take long to redact and do, yeah. Yeah, so quietly moved to minimum security prison. What we know. All right, Ghislaine, well, we'll see. I guess what she said made some sort of dent. At least she's getting moved and, I don't know. Yeah. All right. The reason why we're worried about it, someone says he's dead. Why are we worried about it? Because the people who he trafficked to are still alive and they could be running our government. They could be a part of the fourth branch. They could be a part of one of the three branches, the constitutional branches. That's why we're still worried about it, because we have PDF files in our government. That's why and we want justice. We don't want PDF files, sexual deviants running our government because they're compromised. And if when you're compromised, then you're willing to sell those people out who trust you to govern on their best interest and on their behalf. So if we say America first and you're compromised by Israel or whoever, but it's pretty clear that Epstein was working for Israel. And if you're compromised, whether it be because of horrible theology or they have you on camera doing stuff with underage girls, we need to know that so we don't give you any power. That's why we're still asking. It really is as simple as that. Justice. Because if you're a sexual deviant and you are compromised, you are the lowest type of scum on the earth and you don't deserve to be in power, in government. It really is that simple. So when you ask, why are we still worried about this? Well, it seems that most people with a conscience and a desire to see good done would not want PDF files running their government, compromised PDF files running their government on behalf of Israel. I don't know. Yeah. Y'all can go somewhere with the 34 felonies garbage. I mean, that's, yeah, go for it. I mean, keep talking about it. If y'all want to believe in those trumped up charges, right? If Trump is a PDF file, he should go down. Not because of some trumped up charges by Democrats to invoke lawfare on him. That's nonsense. You guys did that. You lost. Okay. But if he's a PDF file, I want him taken down for a real reason. Not some trumped up charge by Democrat judges and that are trying to curry favor in the party. No, not interested in that. That's partisanship. We're talking about human rights being violated. And this is not a game. Our entire country hangs in the balance as to whether or not we can get off the Israel tether. So that's why we keep talking about this. That's why I've done almost 20 episodes with this as one of the topics in the episode. Right? So, yeah. You obviously don't know me if you're asking that question. But I've been asking for this on Facebook for quite some time. The Epstein didn't kill himself thing. We've been asking for this information for years. So you don't know me. I would probably, yeah, there you go. All right. If you're going to make that claim. Anyway, so It's one of the reasons why we voted for Donald Trump, because he was going to release them. Because the people that he was putting into positions in his cabinet and in leadership positions in his administration were saying that they were going to release the Epstein files. Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, J.D. Vance was saying that they needed to release. Trump even said it. So yeah, he'd look into it. He was hemming and hawing on it a little bit, but he was saying that they would be released. So now that really is what it boils down to. And we even got Elon, right? Elon still doing Elon things, right? He's saying that look, breaking news reports that Elon said it on this. He replied to someone's tweet. Major Democrats and their donors are allegedly on the Epstein list, per Elon Musk. So we've got prominent Dems, prominent Democrats, prominent Republicans probably on the list. This is why when someone says we're probably not getting the list, that's why. Because we've got everybody. And this is all connected, right? If you're familiar with the way that Candace Owens has been exploring Brigitte Macron's gender, right? And then Trump allegedly calling her and asking her to stop the series because Emmanuel Macron pulls him aside and says, hey, look, are you familiar with Candace Owens, right? And let's see, hold on one second. Da-da-da. Give me a second, everybody. Let me get to the is one of the Caleb, are you in here? Time out the is one of the Caleb, are you in here? Hold on one second. Let me time out that the person that keeps posting the same thing over and over and over again. Let's see, hold on one second. Hold on, I got it. There you go. Okay, there you go. All right. There you go. Okay, so now gotcha. Yeah. Now just check it if you could have. Yeah, I timed him out. He was posting the same thing over and over and over again, spamming the chat. I got it. All right. So, but if someone does that, I didn't put the chat in slow mode tonight. So if someone, the only reason we'll time them out is if they post the same thing over and over and over again. If you can, but I'll do that because I got it going on. No, you good. I was just asking to see if any of the moderators were in here. But yeah. So I will I'll keep an eye on it. If anyone does that, I just timed him out for 24 hours. So but yeah, that's nonsense. I don't mind people coming in, guys, and I'll let you know that I don't mind you coming in. You can call me names, you can talk about my facial hair, the Abraham Lincoln thing, all of that other stuff. Really don't care about any of that, but don't spam the chat with the same message over and over and over and over again, because that eliminates other people from engaging in conversation. So that's the only rule I have. Don't spam the chat with the same nonsense over and over and over again. All right. Now, other than that, go for it. Call me all the names you want. Doesn't bother me at all. All right. Troll as hard as you need to troll. In fact, I invite you to. Please do, because that's called engagement and it helps the channel to grow. Appreciate you. All right. So now let's get back to the show. Okay, had to put that out there. All right, so let's see. So we've got that happening now. This is also going on, right? You got Brigitte Macron suing Candace Owens for, let's see, hold on one second. Suing Candace Owens for her expose. But this is all connected. These people are all a part of the same network. Brigitte Macron is continuing to consort with people. The French First Family is consorting with people who have sketchy pasts that have PDF philia mingled in. This isn't coincidental that sexual deviants, PDF files, and the like are ruling over us. Why is that the case? Why? I mean, you actually had Barack Obama, the most radical LGBTQ president in history, push that ideology down our throats for almost his entire term, trying to normalize sexual deviancy in the form of LGBTQ and the like. Do we not think these things are connected? That when you push degeneracy, you're going to get more degeneracy? That if you're pushing degeneracy, it's most likely you're a degenerate. This is the type of stuff that we're having to believe that there is not happening. That it's just not happening. Nah, they're doing this they're doing this for altruistic reasons. They want to help people. They want them to be their authentic selves. No, go back and read the literature of the people that they cite, that they look to as inspiration. No. These people are wicked, and when you have wicked rulers, is it no wonder the world's in the situation that it's in? Zelensky, right? That is true. They can't reproduce, only recruit, and that's why people like Corey DeAngelis and the like, they're saying, homeschool your kids. I mean, we've been homeschooling our kids since 2013 because I recognize this, and it didn't take long. Once I started reading the Bible, I was like, oh, this everything that the government is doing is anti-Bible. Even the Republicans, they're anti-Bible for the most part. They're Christians in name only. So I was like, well, I gotta pull my kids out of this indoctrination camp. I'm good. No, we're gonna teach them how to read, write, to be virtuous. Teach them the old paths that worked. Get them skills. Teach them how to be self-sufficient. Grow their own food. Right? Start businesses. That's we're not going to leave them to this system to be indoctrinated into LGBTQI plus Marxism, socialism, feminism. No. My children are not going to be guinea pigs for this system to play around with, and then ultimately I have to stand before God on the last day and then be like, well, I tried. I gave them to the state. It didn't work out though. They're recruiters par excellence, right? Like that's what they do. You saw the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir. We're coming for your children. Openly admitting it. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children. That's what they said. They let you know. So, I mean, you can, yeah. Right? I don't know. That's it. We just keep working. We keep working. Over on this side, right? Let's see. For some reason, something's going on with this. It's not displaying the. Let me refresh this. Because the numbers, the subscriber numbers going up, but this thing is not showing it. Yeah. It's not showing it. Oh well. Let me do this. Yeah, we're up to 98. 398. Anyway, so my computer's been spazzing out recently, so all right. But we did this campaign interview. Now, there are some things that Trump is doing that are good, but we'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about this, okay? Yeah, let's talk about this. Because Pelosi, I just gave it away. We're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi, all right, the stock genius, all right? Okay. We're going to talk about, all right. Okay. Yes. Stock geniuses? Let's listen in to old Nancy P. as she's interviewed, right? About her wizardry with the stock. What is going on? So see, we got something going on here. Something's going on. There we go. Okay. I was like, why is she still showing up? All right.
Yeah, it was. Let me just read what he said. I'm sorry that we had some sort of technical issue. Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
Yeah, but I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider. But the president has his own exposure, so he's always projecting. He's always projecting. And let's not give him any more time on that, please. We're going forward here, and I'm very proud of my family. And while he might make fun of us, while somebody inspired by him breaks into our home and hits my husband in a deadly fashion, hits my husband over the head, and he thinks that's a riot, I'd rather not go into some of my other complaints about him right now. Rather to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid.
You see how she doesn't want to answer the question, and she gaslights? How dare he? And then the blame places on Trump for something else, right? But no, ma'am, this is the insane thing. Okay. She has, where's the tweet with her? I need to find the tweet with her. What is she, like 720% growth in her portfolio, right? That's insane. There's even the people who created, let me show you this. The guys who created that app that tracks her, Oh, we're going to talk about the job numbers too, right? But they even said, well, look, since we run the Pelosi tracker and built the first way to automatically copy their trades via autopilot, we thought we'd chime in. What is going on with my computer, y'all? This is getting very troubling. Something's happening with the computer because I'm on a completely different tab right now, and it's still showing the same thing. All right, so something's going on with Ecamm that, yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to them because they're messing with my show right now. All of these overlays are not refreshing. Okay, so they built the first way to automatically track trades via autopilot and then copy her stock trades, right? And even they're chiming in on this bill that would essentially stop them from members of government from doing this, right? So it bans Congress's spouses, dependents from trading stocks immediately, must divest everything after 180 days, but they also must divest from blind trust and divest from all private companies where employee count is over 1,200, right? So this is going to change the game. These people won't be able to become multimillionaires by being elected to Congress on a $174,000 salary. Okay? And Patrick Bet David says it here in this tweet. I found one of the tweets that yes. Okay. And I'm looking for. I'm having a slow night with the computer tonight, but we're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep pushing, giving y'all content, right? It looks like even I'm checking the bandwidth. Okay. So Pelosi makes $174,000 a year, yet has a net worth of $413 million. Her portfolio did a 78% return in 2024. She's either insider trading or the greatest investor of our era. Now, does Nancy Pelosi appear to you all to be a stock market savant? I don't get stock market savant from. I get.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
That's what I get from Nancy Pelosi. Partisan, not that bright. Again, here's another one, right? We might play the videos, but she ain't the brightest, right, bulb in the factory. Pelosi's stock portfolio grew by 720%. Buffett, right, over the last 10, Warren Buffett by 185%. Pelosi had almost 4 times the gains. Buffett is known as one of the greatest managers of all time. Appreciate you. I don't know what that says, but I appreciate that super chat. Somebody want to translate that? Am I getting in trouble by putting that online? I don't know, but thank you, Nelson. I have no idea. Right? And this is what Trump is highlighting. Okay? Let's listen in. This is what he's talking about.
I like it conceptually, and Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information.
Exactly.
She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see
Right.
I study these things very carefully, and this just happened.
Right.
So I'll take a look at it. But conceptually, I like it, and what I do think is Nancy Pelosi should be investigated because she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, save a few.
In the history of Wall Street.
How did that happen? It happened by she knows exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced. She buys stock, and then the stock goes up after the announcement's made. And she ought to be investigated. I like it conceptually, and Nancy Pelosi.
Right there. Right there. Look at this person. Right. You read my mind. It's in the rundown. Don't worry. He was next. Don't worry. He was next. Right here in the rundown. Where is it? Right below Pelosi stock genius, Rick Scott. Stock genius. Right? Don't worry. Okay? Yeah. Don't worry. I know y'all think this is some partisan channel, but I already told y'all we're about the truth. I don't like 99.9% of politicians. Because I believe that to be a politician in the United States, you have to be compromised. Whether you're compromised by AIPAC, whether you're compromised by your own deviancy, whether you're you don't go into this. You don't go into politics in the current climate, and not understand what you're getting into. Career politicians are some of the worst people because they're essentially trying to live off of the people while providing what? When Hunter Biden says that his dad has given what? How many years did he give? I don't know, like some 50 plus years in government service. That means that this man has essentially spent the entirety of his adult life living off the tax dollars of the American people. Producing absolutely nothing. I can point to multiple companies that are still using software that I helped to create or maintain, managed, whatever. Some of you may even have used apps that I've written. Some of you may be using software on your computer if you have Logitech peripherals that I helped to code. But you can look at that and say, oh, I produced something of value. What? Did Joe Biden produce of value in his years and years of public service? He got rich. He got powerful. And that goes for hundreds upon thousands of others who served the public as career politicians. But let's listen in the old Rick Scott.
So this idea that we're going to attack people because they make money is wrong. Is absolutely wrong. We should cherish all of our different backgrounds. Every one of us has a different background. I've got a business background. But what I was just accused of is making money, and somehow I can't be fair and do things the right way. So I think it's disgusting what is going on here. So this idea that we're going to attack people because they make money is.
So in a shocking moment, Senator Rick Scott, net worth $550 million, former governor of Florida, right, came out hard against the ban on congressional stock trading. This idea that we're going to attack people because they make money is wrong. That's not why, Rick. That's not why. That's not why. That's not why, Rick. That's not the argument. That's a straw man. That's not the argument. The argument is that you all are in control of who gets what, of how the laws are made. You are compromised and you are earning or profiting off of your position in the government. So you're no longer public servants. your public leeches. See, you've twisted, inverted the paradigm. You're supposed to be serving us, but you're serving yourself. 550 million. 48% stock portfolio increase from Nancy Pelosi. You guys are two wings of the same bird. Fly. Yes, we want you all to not be able to do that. If we can't do it, why can you do it? If we can't inside trade, if it's illegal for us, why is it not illegal for you? That's the question. Right? Now, if he's doing things the right way, great. But we're trying to limit insider trading. That's what people want. Right? Now, I don't see why anybody would be against that if they weren't insider trading. If they didn't make. Now, here's the crazy thing. If you have a net worth of 550 million, why would you need to continue to insider trade? You could just let that money sit and you'd never have to worry again. Sit and earn interest and you could live happily. Right. Yeah, they make the rules. Let's see. Testing. Let's see. All right. Well, am I back? Let me check. What's going on, guys? Am I back? Oh, boy. Had a power outage in our neighborhood. So that happened. All right. Man. Yes. All right. We are back. Okay. There you go. Let's see. We're going to bring this back up. Get everything set back up. Hold on 1 second. Got to get everything set back up so we can continue the rundown. Yes. All right. Hold on 1 second. Man, that was funny. All right, let's see. All right, advanced mode. Get the sub count back up. Yes. Whew, boy. Thank you to everybody that stuck around until until the power was restored and the internet came back up. Let's see. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me see. Yes, what's going on, Nick? Yes. We had some fun. We had some interesting stuff happen at the house here. Had a nice little power outage. But, we're going to keep, let's go back. Trying to get this sub count back. Where is it? All right. Yes. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Yes. All right. There we go. Let's put this back, the count back up there. All right, live sub count. We were talking about the stock geniuses. Where is it? Here we go. All right. Okay. Let me get back to not the secondary display, but the tertiary display. Where is it? Which one is it? I need to. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now do tertiary. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. So we were talking about we got, man, time flies when you're having fun. We started at what, 7:35? We've been going for about an hour. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to try to get through the rundown. So we did the Epstein cover-up. We talked about the federal corruption, Rick Scott, and Nancy Pelosi and their takes on it. Let me ask the chat. I have 3 topics that I want to try to get through. If I don't get through them today, nope. I just remembered. I have to pay homage to one of the greatest people in the history of not only the world, but my channel as well. Right? I gotta talk about her. Some of y'all know. And I'm just gonna bring it up. But she's back, y'all. She's back. Don't call it a comeback though, but she's back. Okay?
Everyone thinks you've been kicking back, drinking margaritas on the beach. But really, you've been hard at work writing a book, meeting with leaders, thinking about the future of our country. Who said that? Everyone thinks you've been kicking back.
I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
She's back. This woman helped me to go from like 2,700 subscribers last year around this time to 6,700. Both she and Trump, but she really sparked the channel's growth. So I am grateful to old Kamala, right? And she's back, so she's been working on a new book, meeting with leaders, right? And she's got some stuff to share with us. So let's listen in, y'all, because she's not going away. She's not going away. As much as people have asked.
Just over a year ago, I launched my campaign for President of the United States. 107 days, traveling the country, fighting for our future. The shortest presidential campaign in modern history. It was intense, high stakes, and deeply personal for me and for so many of you. Since leaving office, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on those days, talking with my team, my family, my friends, and pulling my thoughts together. In essence, writing a journal that is this book, 107 Days. With candor and reflection, I've written a behind-the-scenes account of that journey. I believe there's value in sharing what I saw, what I learned, and what I know it will take to move forward.
I just want some money.
In writing this book, one truth kept coming back to me. Sometimes the fight takes a while, but I remain full of hope, and I remain clear-eyed. I will never stop fighting to make our country reflect the very best of its ideals. Always on behalf of the people. So thank you for being in this fight with me. I am forever grateful. And I cannot wait for you to read this. And I'll see you out there. Take care.
You can't make this up.
107 days. $1 billion. Lost every swing state. Became famous for her ability to word salad, deflect questions, but joy and vibes and dancing and laughing inappropriately. These were the hallmarks of Kamala's 107 days. I wonder, I'm not reading the book. I will not I will not subject myself to that. But I wonder what else she's going to bless us with in the coming years, because I don't think that she's going away, and I believe that she has some plans for the future. And this is what we missed out on, y'all. This is what we missed out on. Look at this.
I mean, there's a lot of personal stuff in the book. I mean, poor Dougie.
You're blowing the lid off of Doug? What's going on?
For example, my birthday's in October. The election's in November. You see where I'm going?
Not really.
And Dougie kind of dropped the ball on my big birthday.
He didn't get you anything?
Oh, you have to read the book.
All right. Tell me the page. Tell me the page. We're going to take...
Is that the sort of riveting stuff that we can expect from the book? Not... what we would like to know is how you got in contact with the celebrities, the behind the scenes of what you were trying to accomplish by having Megan Thee Stallion twerk on stage and virtually illiterate Cardi B try to read off a prepared statement that she most likely didn't write to endorse you. How left and right, every time we turned around, whether we looked to the left or looked to the right, you actually had someone stumping for you on the campaign trail as you invited people to come and see Beyonce, but Beyonce didn't perform. You left out that little detail. These are the types of things we'd actually like to, but are you going to put that in the book? I'd like to know what your campaign strategy was, why it took you so long to start doing interviews. Hey, could you tell us about why the 60 Minutes interview was highly edited? I mean, are you going to tell us about that type of stuff? No, probably not. Oh, okay. Probably not. Yeah, because this is you, right? You're a what?
You're a liar. You're a liar.
You're a liar, right? This is what, because watch this. Watch this. She's still lying. To this day, everybody's admitting that Joe wasn't, right? Right? That Joe wasn't fit.
Walk on stage at that debate, and it did not go well. Spoiler, it did not go well in that debate. Therefore, you became the candidate. At what point in the, say, month that followed that, did people start saying, you might need to be prepared for this?
Let me say something about Joe Biden. I have an incredible amount of respect for him. And I think that the way that we should be thinking about where we are right now is to remember that we had a president of the United States who believed in the rule of law. Who believed in the importance of aspiring to have integrity and to do the work on behalf of the people. And that's where I'll leave that.
I think that's a fine sentiment and all true. I'm just curious, did people say to you, you should be prepared for this?
There were some who did, but listen, it was Joe's decision, and he made that decision.
What did we learn from this? What did we learn from this? He asked a very specific question. And she started talking about praising Joe Biden and the rule of law. And how long afterward did people start telling you that you should be prepared to be president? Right. Exactly. What's going on, brother Anthony Allen? What's happening? He made a decision, right? That's not what old Hunter said. Hunter has a different set of facts than you. Hunter likes you, but Hunter don't believe that whole Joe had to make a decision nonsense. Now, if you're going to come back, so she's like LeBron James trying to rewrite history. Nope. That's not how we do this. That's not how we do this. We don't do that here. Okay? Now, this is the last one. We got two more. Well, no, we got this one. But this last one. This is the last one. I'm going to stop torturing y'all with torturing you with right? I'm going to stop torturing you all with this. Here we go. This is the last one. Last one.
Smoked him like a ham. I just want to remind everybody, you warned everyone about the future under our present president. You said he would prosecute his political enemies. He would cut Medicaid, Medicare. He would ignore court orders. He would alienate our allies. He would give massive tax cuts to the rich. And I know you're not here to say, I told you so. But would you like to?
But let me just say this. You are correct that I did predict a lot of it. But Stephen, what I did not predict was the capitulation. I didn't predict that.
People would roll over for this president.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming. And perhaps it's naive of me, someone who has seen a lot that most people haven't seen, but I believed that on some level, there should be many who consider themselves to be guardians of our system and our democracy who just capitulated. And I didn't see that coming.
Do you think?
Right, he said oh boy. Yeah, he said the chameleon, right? Yes. Where is it? Right. Kamala is a chameleon. She comes and goes. She can be Indian or she can... Right. Yeah, man. She is a chameleon. She can put on any accent that she needs to. Whether she's talking to the Latinos, she can the Jamaicans, amen, right? She can do whatever she needs. The code switching, right? She can cosplay. She can be Indian or she can be black like me, right? She's in these streets. She makes good greens. Yeah, she puts them in the bathtub. Remember that, guys? It's disgusting. Yes. Oh, but she's planning on sticking around, right? People keep talking about, why are you talking about her, right? Come on. Right? That's she's starting to come back. Right? All you gotta do is go search. Right? Go search. This is what they do. Book Stephen A. Smith. Kamala Harris. Book. Right? They're gonna put out the book. Yeah. A potential run would be good for the country. None of this is coincidental. Come on, y'all. We're supposed to believe that she's just going to fade into obscurity. What's going on, Brother Chuck? She's not going to run again. This is everything. Yeah. Oh, no, we're not afraid that she's going to run. But to pretend that she's just going to fade into obscurity and we should not talk about her when she is going on a book tour. Former vice president who just lost the presidential election going on a book tour. We can't talk about that? It's got you in here. Oh, now, as we continue to navigate the landscape, we have the Democrats whose approval rating is plummeting and is at the lowest point that it's been since, what is it, Obama's presidency? I don't know. It's pretty bad. Let's see. Where's that? Where's the... Hold on one second. I'm going to change this. Yeah. Some of this stuff I got to do. There you go. Yes. Let's talk about it from this perspective. I've got one. Yeah. After that power outage. Right. Yeah. I'm trying to get everything back into order. Y'all. Right? Yes, see. Yep. Yeah, just had a power outage, guys. So we're dealing with what we're gonna do. Right? Dealing with it. Got the rundown, guys. Yeah, you know. But we gotta do what we gotta do. Power outage happens, and you gotta work with it. Gotta work with what you got. All right. So here we go. CNN says the quiet part out loud. Look at this.
One of the reasons why there is no front runner, nobody wants to put anybody up at the top of their ballot list, is because at this particular point, the Democratic brand is in the basement. It is total and complete garbage in the mind of the American public. The Democratic Party's net favorable rating, record lows in all three. Wall Street Journal, 30 points underwater. CNN, 26 points underwater. Gallup, 26 points underwater. And that is being driven in large part by discontent within the Democratic base. The Democratic base wants something different. We'll ultimately end up seeing who they choose. It'll be quite the thing who ultimately gets the rose. One of the reasons why...
Whoo, record disappointment. Record low polling. What do you do? What do you do in this instance? If you're the Democrats, if you put someone out there right now, they're going to have so much work to do over the next 2.5 years to change the perception. Right now, nobody's favorable. Now, you have your dyed-in-the-wool Democrats that are going to continue to vote Democrat regardless, right? Partisanship is tribalism, partisanship, whatever you want to call it. But to get that middle ground, those independent voters to come back over to the Democrat Party, they've got a lot of work to do. A lot. Now, only a generational fumble by the Republicans over the next 2.5 years could swing the pendulum back. Right? And we'll see, because the world is a stage. So it's possible that the Republicans, because at some point we believed that the Democrats had a stranglehold on politics because of Barack Obama for the next, 8 years. And they were like, oh, after Bush, Obama came in and the president did all of these things. And America was supposedly going to be blue for the foreseeable future because the Democrats had elected a black president. Oh, how did that work out? Well, Barack Obama sold the black community out because I voted for him in 2008. I was on the train. I was fully indoctrinated into the black Democrat plantation. I was on it, the ideology which kept us on the plantation. I voted for him in 2008. 2012, my eyes were open and I was like, I can't vote Democrat again. This is not, I can't square this circle with what the Bible teaches and it didn't take long. And then I started looking at the Republicans and I was like, well, they claim to be Christian and want Christian values, but I can't vote for them either because they don't follow through. So it was just, in 2012, right? And I didn't vote for Obama. I voted third party. 2016, I voted third party because I just didn't believe that Trump would do what he said. I didn't have any faith in him. I'm like, third party again. And then in 2020, I was like, you know what? The Democrats seem to really hate this guy and what he's trying to accomplish, and so do the Republicans. I need to look more deeply into him. 2020, did research, voted for him. He lost. And then they spent the next 4 years trying to destroy him. And I was like, wow, these people really, really hate him. The deep state, the political elite hate him. Maybe there's something to this guy. Voted for him again. Right? Yeah. I don't know why people think I think Trump is a Christian. I guess it's a limitation. I don't know. In understanding, because I think I've said it on multiple episodes that I don't believe that Trump is a Christian. So I don't. I just think that he's the type of person that didn't have to do this. He wasn't trying to become rich. He was already rich. He didn't need to run for president. He didn't need politics to become rich. Yeah. Unlike those other people who go into politics, like Nancy Pelosi, to become rich, right? To increase their net worth. But so we've got, let's see, we're gonna have to cut some of this tonight because of the power outage. Looking at this to see, we could talk about Zionism, we could talk about Islam, DEI. What y'all think? I had some stuff in here on Trump wins. And then the Russia response. I had some stuff to do about that. I think I'm going to go Zionism. I think we're going to talk about Zionism. Let's talk about Zionism. Because I haven't talked about Zionism in a couple of days. And apparently, I've got the itch. Right? I got the itch. Right? Let's see. Right. Yeah. So, let's see. I'm gonna pull these out of the way. And we're gonna talk about this. Okay? So, here we go. All right. So, oh man, so we're gonna start with this one. Yes, let's talk about this. Right, this is John Mearsheimer while discussing the power of the Israel lobby in America with Tucker Carlson. Let's listen in.
What we have in the United States is a situation where we have this thing called the Israel lobby, which I, of course, have written about with Steve Wald, which goes to great lengths to push the United States to support Israel unconditionally. In other words, no matter what Israel does, we are supposed to support Israel. And the lobby is so effective, it is so powerful, it is so effective that we basically end up supporting Israel unconditionally. What that means, Tucker, is in those cases where Israel's interests are not the same as America's interests, we support Israel. We support Israel's interests, not America's interests, because
over and against America's interests.
Of course. What we have.
I only have one question. How is that America first? If over and against your country's best interest, you put another country's interest. How is your country not a slave to that country? If the ADF, the AIPAC have that much influence over our politics, then are we truly a sovereign nation? if we make decisions that depend that on what Israel wants us to do and not the American people, how is that America first? It doesn't make any sense of the Bible. It just doesn't make any sense on a basic, logical, national interest level. Theologically, the position is bankrupt. Logically speaking, your nation is compromised from the standpoint of just basic national interests. How do you square that circle? How, unless we are ruled by compromise. That's why we're talking about the Epstein trial and why it's so important. Because we're being ruled by a shadow government that is controlled by the Israel lobby. Zionism is a problem, right? Zionism is a problem. The position of futurism, and one of the books that I've tagged in my as a possible purchase, like once you get to 10,000 subscribers, YouTube gives you the ability to tag products. So I've tagged some books, and one of the books that I tagged is A Short History of Christian Zionism. And you should read that book. I just recently read it. But the restoration movement, as it grew throughout time, took various different flavors, right? This recent push for Israel to have a homeland so that the third temple can be built to usher in Christ's return and begin the 1,000-year reign of Christ in Jerusalem physically, has done untold damage to our foreign policy and to our theology, that movement, because it makes, so this is the reason why I'm not a futurist, why I'm a preterist. And if you understand, the Latin preterism comes from the Latin word for past. In Matthew 24, Jesus is telling the people there that hear them that in their generation, all of the things that were prophesied in the scriptures would come to pass. The destruction of the temple, the ushering in of the new age. Matthew 24 only makes sense from the preterist position. The people that were sitting there in Matthew 24, they were futurists. They looked to they were like, well, in our generation, Jesus says all of this stuff is going to think back to Old Testament prophecy, saying, well, when you see this, the birth pangs and the stars and the heaven and earth passing away and all these other things, using the language of the Old Testament that talked about the destruction of a kingdom, Jesus was telling them, look for these things because you're going to see them. The tribulation, you're going to see it. This is your future. It's not ours. It's not our future. Those things happened. Revelation is John's account of those things happening in 70 AD, the 7 years, 63 to 70 AD. This is, so when people talk about, well, you should be a Zionist because you want the second coming of Christ. You should want another temple, a third temple built because you want to see Christ's second coming. Well, if you understand the context and the audience to whom Christ was discussing these things, you know that they were futurist, but that's in our past. And so there's no need for me to be a Zionist, because Israel having a physical land and a third temple being built, that makes mincemeat of the text of Revelation, of Matthew 24. You have to start changing the meaning of simple words that never were meant to mean that, like this has to mean that. This generation, no, not this generation, that generation, 2,000+ years down the line. And you see how every generation has its sort of Zionist leanings.
That's racist!
There you go. I guess it is racist. I tapped that button. But every generation has their Zionist leanings, where they think that the Pope, the Antichrist, is some leader in their time, right? I mean, every time a U.S. president is elected, oh, he's the Antichrist. Obama's the Antichrist. Trump's the Antichrist. It's like, how many Antichrists are we going to have? The man of lawlessness, this and this. And when you start to even understand that there were many Jewish rabbis and a portion of Judaism that never wanted to return to the homeland. They fought it tooth and nail for a new state to be formed in that land. They didn't even want to return to the land. And we have Christians telling us that we're anti-Christian if we don't want the Jews to have a homeland in the Middle East. And that we're going to be cursed by God if we don't acquiesce, if we don't support everything that Israel does. But it has been a tremendous success in helping to indoctrinate generations of people into believing that it is a necessity for Christians to want the Jews to return to their homeland in Israel. All right? No, it's not. Preterism is a very, very consistent position with the Old Testament prophetic language of the rising and falling of nations, of God using coming down in judgment on nations like Babylon, Assyria, Moab, etc., etc. The same language Jesus picks up and uses, the same language the apostles use, the same language that John uses in Revelation. So in the Gospels, you have this consistent pattern of languages that are being, a language that's being used. So why do we have to assent to this doctrine of Zionism to be consistent Christians? Nice. Was it JFK? Because Robert never became president. JFK, right? That's what you mean. Yeah. All right. So we're going to finish up on Zionism. Let's see. Now, let's see. I don't know if I'm going to play this one. Let's see. Oh, yeah. There was this thing where when you see Trump start to make decisions based on Canada's. Yeah, JFK. Okay, cool. Yeah, I figured that. Okay. So Trump says, wow, Canada just announced that it is backing statehood for Palestine. Why is this not? There it is. Okay. I'm going to have to restart my computer after this. That will make it very hard for us to make a deal, a trade deal with them. Why? If a trade deal with Canada is dependent upon their support for Palestinian statehood, that means that this is an Israel first decision. I thought this was Make America Great. I thought it was America first. I could have sworn that a good trade deal for America should not be dependent upon Canada's position on Palestinian statehood. Doesn't seem like that's a good idea. This and again, many people pick this up. Like this wasn't a bunch of people. And they're all starting to call this out. This makes absolutely no sense. Right? Matt Walsh said it. This is ridiculous. If a trade deal with Canada is beneficial to the American people, then it should go forward regardless of Canada's stance on Palestine. It's really that simple. The benefit of the American people should be the guiding principle. If you're America first, that should be the guiding principle, the only guiding principle. That's the problem we're experiencing now with Donald Trump. Now, we've got now everybody there was an interview with Tony Aguilar, who's been on the ground, boots on the ground, providing humanitarian aid there in the Middle East. Let's listen to what he has to say. Okay?
The IDF guys on the ground, their perception is that the humanitarian aid going into Gaza is feeding the enemy.
What about the women and children? I mean, I understand they don't want you helping Hamas, the leadership of Hamas. That makes sense. But these are civilians you're feeding, right? Women and children? Elderly people and...
Women, children, the disabled, the elderly, the needy. Yeah, that's who we're feeding. Or that's what I should say, that's who we're not feeding. That's who we're supposed to be feeding.
So how are those people the enemy in any war? Those are just the bystanders. Those are the people who didn't choose the war, who weren't fighting in the war, who were just being hurt by the war.
That's a perception. And I think we've also heard the perception from the highest levels of the Israeli government that all of Gaza, it's all Hamas. Everybody's Hamas. And the reason that's striking to me, because I feel like someone handed Bibi Netanyahu a list of the violations of the Geneva Convention, but like took the numbers off of it, and he's just checking them off.
Now, this guy, if you want to go and watch the full interview with retired Green Beret Lieutenant Colonel Tony Aguilar, who says he witnessed war crimes in Gaza, go to Tucker Carlson's page. You can go to his YouTube account, or you can do it on X, right? Either one. But this is someone who's on the ground, where the rest of us are here in our comfy American homes. He was just recently over there providing aid, and he goes into great detail as to what he saw while he was there. Now, there are lots of different accounts, but I'm going to go with, I mean, people are talking about, oh, video this, video that. That can be doctored. That can be fabricated. Okay. But when you get someone who's been there, what is going on with this thing? Me and my computer are going to have a serious talk after this. Because it's not really showing up. I've got other things going on. Yes. All right. Where is this? Why is it not showing? Come on. Yes. This is no good. This is no good. Yeah. So. Why is it still not showing the thing? Let's see. Hold on one second, y'all. Something's going on with Ecamm it's not allowing me to. Hold on one second. I'm going to bring the screen share back up. There it is. Okay. So you've got this. This is Amir walked 12 kilometers barefoot to get food. He kissed the hand of the American soldier, thanking him for a bag of rice and lentils. Then Israel killed Amir right in front of the soldier. A child, grateful for lentils, executed in broad daylight. Amir was 5 years old. Now, this may or may not be true, but this man, right? Tony Aguilar is making these claims. And he was there. What do we do in this instance when we have eyewitness reports of the atrocities happening, but we're supposed to support Israel in everything that they do? That's what we're being told. As Christians, we are supposed to give them undying support. It should never waver. It should never wane. We should never question anything that they do. We should always, first and foremost, think of Israel. How can any of us in good conscience, when this is the information we're getting, turn a blind eye to it and say, well, these are God's people. They're justified. When a consistent reading of the scriptures brings us to the conclusion, consistent reading without futurist presuppositions would bring you to the conclusion that God divorces Israel in AD 70, ushering in a new age, destroying the temple. The old covenant age is done. The new age, the new heavens, new earth, the new age has started. Jesus is reigning. He's not giving that reign up. He's not going back to the people who killed him. That was the end of the Jewish age. AD 70 was the end. Deuteronomy 28 tells us that God would expel them from the land because of their disobedience. What's more disobedient than the rejection of the Messiah and the murder of the Messiah? What's the worst sin you could ever commit? Killing God's son. This is what they did. So the national divorce, the covenant divorce happens. The remnant is saved. That's what the scriptures teach. The remnant is saved. That remnant is now all Israel will be saved. Goes forth into the new age that we're currently in. This is a consistent reading of the scriptures without a futurist, without futurist glasses, would never lead you to Zionism. Never. Right? And then just from the practical perspective of how Israel views Christians and everyone else. Yes, Romans 11 was also fulfilled in the past. The preterists, yes. According to the preterist position, Romans 11, just stating that chapter doesn't prove futurism. Romans 11 can be completely understood from a preterist perspective. Yep. And most people haven't even studied preterism in order to challenge their own futurist presuppositions. Most people haven't. Most people don't even recognize that there is a consistent position called preterism, like that you could harmonize the scriptures via the preterist position. Just understanding the context of the scriptures, the audience to which it was, the audience then was asking questions about the end of their age, the end of what they had been looking for, what they have been taught. And they asked Jesus very specific questions on the heels of Matthew 23 to the precursor of Matthew 24, right? Matthew 23 happens. He said, oh, no, well, this temple's going away. No stone will remain. And they're like, wait. That means the end of the age is coming. Jesus, what's the signs? What are the signs? Tell us, because you just made the claim that this temple is going to be destroyed. And we know that that means the end of the age. So answer that question, please. That's what Matthew 24 is. And Matthew 24, Jesus answers those exact questions. And then people will try to say, well, he was answering the questions about the future too. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Because he said all this stuff was going to happen in this generation. He said all of these signs will be fulfilled. Everything. The signs that you talk about in the old covenant, they're going to be fulfilled. Right? So the futurist has to go back and pretend like those people didn't know anything. They were completely confused. And the most damning part of the futurist position is that it makes Jesus, and non-believers even recognize this. And non-believers even recognize this, that it makes Jesus a false prophet. The futurist position, when actually read by people who just clearly are reading the text, they're like, well, everybody in the first century thought that the return of Jesus was imminent. Jesus must have been a false prophet. What's going on? Hold on. You can see that clearly in the scriptures, that yes, they thought that the return of Jesus was imminent, that it was happening in their lifetime. Now, unless you understand Old Testament prophetic language and how it harmonizes all of the passages, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Zechariah, all of these passages, how they harmonize with Jesus's words in Matthew 24 and Mark 13, I think in Luke, I forget what chapter it's in Luke, and then also in Revelation, then you get into a twisted web of attack helicopters, literalism, and then symbolism, and making up all of these other things. Like, you could just believe what the disciples believed in Matthew 24, that they asked the question about the end of the age and Jesus answered it. The end of their old covenant age. We could just believe that. But this is how Israel treats Christians, right? Israelis in Israel treat Christians. I want to say the entire state doesn't do that.
No, come on. Wait,
cross.
wait.
Hold on 1 second.
Come on, bro.
Islam.
Hold on.
Look.
Wait, let's go back. See it from the top. So he's got his cross. Took the kid's cross necklace.
No, come on. Wait. Come on, bro.
Islam. Look.
You look Israeli.
And spit on him.
No, come on.
Took his, right?
Wait.
This is, I got to do something about this.
Come on.
About what's going on with Ecam. Ecam is giving me the blues tonight. It's okay though. Yeah. Right. And see, look, there it is. Right. VIA Airship says that the Apostle Paul was certain of Christ's return in the first century. He says it didn't happen. But you understand, when you understand the preterist position and Old Testament prophecy, you understand that the second coming actually did happen. when you understand how to define the second coming as not a 5'4" man coming down out of the clouds, if you understand the Old Testament prophet language, that coming in the clouds meant coming in judgment on a nation, then you see AD 70 fulfills perfectly what Jesus Christ was discussing, because he was using the motifs and the imagery from the Old Testament to say that the end of the age was coming. He was going to destroy Jerusalem, destroy the temple, and usher in the new age. And that's what the apostles understood. And that's why they thought it was imminent. And that's why it was fulfilled. And that's why the preterist position is the only position that actually makes Jesus not a false prophet. Every other position turns him into a false prophet. Everyone. Every one of them. When you don't view the imminence of Christ being in the first century, the imminent return, the second coming in judgment on Jerusalem, that's what it was. Guys. It really just makes too much sense. Preterism makes too much sense. Yeah. See? And that's what I'm saying. Like, these people can't. Have you ever studied preterism? I'm just asking. Have you ever studied the preterist position, Judy? If you understand what the second coming means, what it meant, the coming in judgment, it's the same language from coming in judgment, coming on the clouds. That's the same language from the Old Testament when Jesus, or when Yahweh was coming to judge a nation. Let's see. Pull up the... Yeah. I may do a full episode on that, right? Yeah. I may do a full episode on that. So, yeah. All right, and so we've got the, what is that? What's the last? I think that's it. I think we I think this may be. I may do last two things real quick, and then I'll be heading out. Okay. This was interesting. Oh man, this Ecamm is really giving me the blues tonight. Like, it will not work with me. It's okay. It's all right. So, did you know Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was the Israeli spy who sold bugged software to the United States that allowed Israel to steal our nuclear secrets? He has also bought publishing houses that provided the textbooks for our schools, so we grew brainwashed by Israeli propaganda. So, here's the thing. I don't know if this is true or not. But I never thought I'd see the day when I'd be agreeing with Cenk. Cenk has been going in recently on the Zionist the Zionist train, right? And so I'll put this up here. This is the this is where is this? Israel supporters have already collected $2 million to spend against Rep. Thomas Massey. Paul Singer gave $1 million. Miriam Adelson gave $750K. They hate him for trying to represent America instead of Israel. They're proud to eliminate anyone in Congress who defies Israel. Oh, that's Cenk. That's another Cenk tweet, right? I'm just like, man, come on, Cenk. I don't know. I'm trying to get this thing to. This is really getting on my nerves. All right. So I'm about to, let's see. Hold on one second. All right, here we go. Bring it back. There it is. All right. So that was the tweet I just read. So this is right. Extremist groups in Gaza released videos of 2 Israeli hostages. They look like they're starving. What did Israel think was going to happen to the hostages when they started starving everyone in Gaza? They're starving the hostages along with everyone else. From day one, they never cared about. I'm just like, man, Cenk is going. I don't even follow Cenk, but I'm starting to see so much stuff in it because of our similar views on this Israeli conflict and how Israel's handling the American government. Well, I mean, it's just, yeah. Israel doesn't view us as a special ally. They view us as suckers. Yes, Cenk. Yes, they do. That is true. And we are suckers. As a nation, we are suckers. That's it. We are. Because we have people with bad theology who are trying to. So when you have this horrible theology that things have to get better, have to get worse before Christ returns, then you don't mind the world going to hell in a handbasket because it fits your theology. And if you have those type of people in government, then yes, they're going to do whatever they think is best for Israel. And Israel is a secular state that hates Yahweh and doesn't really like America either. They view us as sub. So, of course. I mean, this is just, I don't know why this is so controversial. What's controversial about another nation using us for their benefit? Wow. I don't know. And that not being a good thing. That's controversial now, apparently. We shouldn't want that. We should want that. We should want to keep that relationship going, that toxic relationship that we get very little to no benefit from. We should just keep it going. All right? I don't know, man. But thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. This was an interesting episode because of the power outage. I had to regroup and get everything back up and running, run down everything. Yeah. Anyway, we're probably going to do I might do a prepared video for my members on preterism and some of the topics that convinced me to no longer be a Zionist or a futurist, right? Yeah. So Jesus came on the clouds in 70 AD in judgment on the nation of Israel. And that's the biblical, that's what the apostles, prophets, and the people of the first century understood. They knew the Jewish scriptures better than the Zionists today do. And they understood the questions that they were asking. And Jesus answered their questions. And he didn't accuse them of not understanding. Whenever the apostles were mistaken, Jesus said it. We know the Bible tells us. The Bible tells us that they were mistaken. In this instance, they were not mistaken. They knew that the destruction of the temple was the end of the age. They understood that the coming of the Son of Man on the clouds in judgment against Jerusalem was the ushering in of the new age, the new heavens, the new earth. They knew that all the prophecies of the Old Testament would be fulfilled in the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. They understood this. Now, somebody in 2025 that doesn't understand that and wants to make up their own fantasy second coming, go for it. But the preterist position actually makes more sense of the Old Testament and harmonizes it in a much more consistent way that doesn't leave Jesus looking like a false prophet and the apostles looking like they were deficient in their understanding of the timeline. You have Holy Spirit inspired writers looking for the imminent return of Christ. But then you guys come along 2,000 years later to tell them that they were incorrect. Even atheists can read with comprehension and see that Paul, Peter, John all believed that Jesus was coming back very shortly and told their readers, not you, their readers at the time, that they should be expecting the imminent return of Christ. Not American dispensationalist in 2025. Not Zionist or Zionist in 1948. They were taught context matters. Context, audience, genre, explanatory or didactic. That matters. All right. Thank you to everybody that tuned in for the likes, the comments, the subscriptions, and the super chat. I think, was it Nick? I can't find it now because Ecamm shut down and I had to bring it back up after the power outage. But until next time, be on the alert. Stand firm in the faith. Act like men. Be strong. See y'all around. Bye.